Hey there, guys. This is Devin Paul, and I am here today on the Pan Series Daily as your host. And I'm here to talk about daily improvisation and actually using the rudiments and the phrases that you're trying to practice. I think it's very, very important whenever you're practicing to incorporate time, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on how much time you have in a practice session. I would say give at least 25 to 50% of your time to improvisation. And this is because whenever you're practicing your rudiments, whenever you're practicing compositions and things like that, you want to actually be able to apply those concepts. You want to be able to apply them in the second. You want to be able to apply them whenever you're composing. You want to be able to apply them in the long run. So whenever you're actually practicing, let's say I'm practicing paradiddles, and that's just an example. You can use any rudiment really. Let's say I'm practicing paradiddles, and I decide I'm going to go up the scale of my handpan using the paradiddles whenever I'm improvising, right? Like you're actually applying that as you go. So in the Panhandler's Handbook, I actually utilize this concept of adding strokes, adding rudiments into a choreographed, a actually composed piece. And that's because I feel that it's very, very vital to actually be practicing the rudiments as well as any of the phrasing or the techniques on your actual instrument. Not just in the practice setting, not just with the metronome, but also just improvising, feeling. These instruments are very, very like feeling, intention, and release oriented, and it takes a lot of connection to actually be able to play something that conveys that message. They're so beautiful just the way that they are, just because of the timbre that they have, um, that they really, really easily connect with people. But to go that extra mile, that extra step, you have to actually be able to apply all these things. And the goal, of course, is to be able to channel your emotions, your story, or portray whatever story that you're playing. Back whenever I was in high school, I was in the marching band. And I remember there would be points where I would almost cry because I was feeling the music so much, and I mentioned this earlier in my skills video, but it's true. You have to have that connection to really keep on pushing yourself, to really keep yourself driven. And for me, that's what it's all about. That's what I personally believe music is all about. It's about connecting with the instrument, it's about conveying those messages. Some people might say that music is actually a language that communicates without words. Other people say that instruments imitate the human voice. The human voice has a very, very large range of capabilities, tones, and the kind of sounds that it can produce. But what a lot of people believe is that instruments imitate the human voice. Because, of course, before we actually created drums or before we created handpans or anything like that, we were singing. We were using our voice. We were creating these lullabies. We were creating these little folk songs. And then, of course, there were drums that were made. And I mean, this goes back into human nature. We've been doing this for centuries. We've been doing this for so long. Um, but it's something that's very, very special to humans. It's very special to our species to be able to connect using music, to be able to share messages without even saying a word. Um, it's almost like the unspoken language. And of course, you can sing and you're using your voice, but you can also use an instrument. You don't have to use a voice, you don't have to use your vocal cords. Um, but yeah, improvising every day, whether it be 25%, 50%, is crucial because you're actually applying what you're using to what you can actually do. You're creating it on the fly. You're coming up with your own compositions on the fly. And whether you record them or not, that's up to you. Personally, I record every improvisation that I do just because I feel like going back and watching it, I can gain a lot of knowledge. I can gain a lot of information about what I can improve upon, about where I kind of had tendencies to stutter in my playing, where I may not be doing the perfect double or the perfect triple, or even where I need to stick with the metronome or just practice it with the metronome, going up the scale, going down the scale, doing a sixtuplet, doing a quintuplet. It's like all these things that you can learn from recording yourself are very, very powerful and very, very good to know, and you can learn them just by recording yourself, just by recording yourself playing. You don't have to put them on YouTube. You don't have to share them. You can keep them to yourself just to watch and study. Um, but it's just play, just improvise, you know? Connect with your instrument to the best of your abilities. And as time goes on, as you build that foundation, and as you get to more and more complex levels, bring inspiration from other players, whether it's whatever idol you have, whether it be Adrian Portia, Jacob Cole, or even Colin Folk. You know, there's tons of players out there that are really, really amazing. There's a lot of ones that are under the radar too, that are not as well known as the ones that I just mentioned. Um, but seek inspiration from people. Whenever I actually first started taking drum lessons, whenever I moved to Florida, my first drum instructor here told me to go to the library and actually rent out some DVDs of jazz artists, of jazz drummers, of rock drummers, of classical music like concert drum players, timpani, to rent out all of these CDs, to listen to them, get inspiration from them, to learn from people that have already been through what you've been through, and grow and learn that much faster. You know, a lot of people in life say that you have to have a mentor or a guide, but you don't have to have that guide right in front of you. You can have a guide and a mentor by reading their biographies, by reading their books. You can have a guide and a mentor by listening to the music that they've produced, watching their videos if they have it, if you're lucky enough to have recorded somebody at that point. But all I'm saying is improvisation is very, very important, and seeking out other players, seeking out their music is going to help you with inspiration to grow your portfolio and your kind of like sound profile that you're going to be making over the course of the next several years, months, weeks. And it's very, very vital to your success that you're applying the things that you're learning. You're not just sitting down with a metronome every day, in and out, getting really, really fast at doing those rudiments if you can't apply them. So anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you had a lot of knowledge. I know it was a lot of knowledge that was thrown at you, but I hope you absorbed it, and I hope that you guys are able to kind of apply what I'm telling you. If you have any questions, send them to me at contact@thepanseries.com or over my Facebook page, The Pan Series. If you haven't already joined the Pan Series community, you can look for it on Facebook, or you can actually go to the Pan Series page, and then it's linked to it. And if you have any questions about anything, I actually do have my separate blog. It's called #AskThePanSeries, and you can go to my website on the Ask section, actually put in your name and then your question, and I will send it directly to my inbox, and I will actually record myself answering it for you guys. Of course, I'm getting a lot of questions, so I have to kind of filter them out, but I will record it, answer your questions, and then that way we're all giving back to each other. We're all answering each other's questions. Anyways, guys, I hope you had a lot of fun watching this video, and keep hyped, and I'll talk to you next time.